Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to you all. Very sorry for the delay in getting set up. As usual, these things never work as you perfectly expect them. Really warm welcome to our Year 7 welcome event, and thank you very much for choosing to be with us when your children join us in Year 7 next year in September. My name is James Wilson, and it's a privilege to be the principal of Bacon's College, and it's a privilege to be talking to you today. And once again, a very warm welcome. Just to let you know, we had 613 applicants for the places we got available at Bacon's next year, and 236 of those were first choices. So of the 195 places that we've given to everyone on the call today, you are one of many who did apply to get here, but sadly wasn't able to. So thank you very much for your application and for the confidence and trust that you've shown in Bacon's to entrust us with your children's education for hopefully the next 7 years. I'll just say a little bit before I hand over to some of my colleagues. So our mission statement at Bacon's is that all students are well educated, cared for, and exhorted to achieve academic and personal excellence that would lead to skilled work, university, and to a fulfilled life. And that's really, in a nutshell, what we aim to do as a school, and we will do everything we possibly can to achieve that mission. It starts off with every student being well educated, and that is what we are here to do. We are a place of education, we are a place of learning. We want students to come here, to behave well, to work hard, and to learn. So if they can learn and they can get the best results possible in 5 or 7 years, they can go on to be successful in whatever they want to do later. So that is what we do as a school, and that is our aims and objective as a school. And I know you're going to work with us and support us over the next few years to achieve that objective. My colleague's just going to make a few slides live now, if you can. So I'll start off or I'll hand over to some other people. This is some of our senior leadership team at Bacon's. Obviously, there's me as the principal, and I'm in my 5th year here now, and it's really been a great privilege to see how the school has grown and developed and changed over those years to the place it is now. We've got a larger SLT than who you just see on the screen, but these are the main people that you will have contact with. You've got Mr. Sargent, he's our vice principal. He's on the call, and he leads primarily on pastoral and safeguarding. There's Miss Mataria, who's our associate vice principal, and she leads on teaching and learning in the school. There's Mr. Maybury, one of our vice principals in charge of our curriculum. There's Mrs. Adam, our associate vice principal, and she's mainly in charge of data assessment and exams. And there's Mrs. Wilkins, and Miss Wilkins is our executive business manager, and she's in charge of all of the things that keeps the school running well, like the money, finances, HR, IT, buildings, and all of those things which we need to be working well in order to provide the best education we can. So there's some of our senior leadership team, and they're the people who have contact with most in SLT over the next few years. So do you want to just advance one more slide? Back one, that's it. And these are our Year 7 team. So when your children join us in Year 7, these will be the staff that they'll have most daily contact with in addition to their form tutors. You've got Mr. Pike, he's going to take over from me in just a moment. He's our head of Year 7. He's also our curriculum leader for PE, and he will keep a really close eye on Year 7 right the way from their induction in the summer all the way through to the end of Year 7. You've got Miss Marshall, who's our pastoral manager. You've got Mr. Phillips, who's one of our pastoral assistants. You've got Mrs. Carroll, who is our attendance officer, and she will be contacting you to find out why anyone might not have been in school and to collate all the attendance data. And you've got our college chaplain, Reverend Nikki, who's here whenever your children want to talk to the chaplain in school. She's obviously there for our ethos and our worship and for our exams, but she's also there to provide pastoral care when students need it as well. So that's the Year 7 team, and you'll have lots of contact with them over the next year or so. So I'm now going to hand over to Mr. Pike. I think someone on the call is not muted. If you can just make sure you've done that. Mikey, do you want to try your one muted? And I'm going to hand over to Mr. Pike. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. I'm really pleased to be able to welcome all of you as prospective new parents to Bacon's College. My name is Mr. Pike. I'm the current head of Year 7, and I'm going to talk a little bit this evening about some of our key transition information and to start the ball rolling, if you like, with some of the information that you're going to need to know to make sure that the move from primary school to secondary school is as smooth as it possibly can be. Sir has spoken about the team that you can see on the screen, and we really value having a very strong team around Year 7 students because we recognise that it is a big change coming from primary to secondary. We also recognise that no two children are the same, and all children, just like all people, will have different needs. So the journey will not be the same for all families, the journey will not be the same for all students, but having a strong team and a clear plan means that all the young people can be supported to a really good standard into their journey into Year 7. Please also feel very confident from this point on to ask questions and to ask for support. As I've already said, you know, no two students are the same. Everybody has different needs. So to be able to have a conversation about that starting now helps that bedding in process. Okay, the first point of contact, or the first thing I'd like to share with you as a really good reference point for key information, is the school website. So on the school website, there is a dedicated Year 6 to Year 7 transition area, and this provides key information including dates, parent and guardian forms that are to be completed, a transition newsletter that I'll speak a little bit more about towards the end of the presentation, and also some information about an upcoming summer project. We've also got on the website a short video. You can meet some of our previous Year 7 students and talk about their experiences. And that's something that, you know, we recognise that as a Year 6 student starting a foot in a new school, to have a voice of a pupil that's been in those shoes is something that's very helpful. In terms of other information that is found on the website that I'd just like to flag up, there's also information about how to apply for music lessons and instrumental lessons, and also if your child can be in receipt of free school meals, then there is an application process that I'd like to make, you know, clear that is on the website for you to access. Okay, in terms of some key dates that are coming up, then I know there's been a letter that's gone out to all parents with the key transition dates, but the first thing that to really make clear on is that there will be an enrolment booklet coming home to parents in the week commencing the 15th of May. Now, this is a very important booklet because it requires you to complete all of the relevant information and documentation for your child before they start at Bacon's College, and we need to receive that booklet back from you on the 6th of June, which will be an information evening live in person at Bacon's at 4:15. So once the booklet comes home, if you could please fill that out, bring it back to school on that date. On that date, you're going to receive a live presentation about some more expectations and information about what Year 7 will be like. And we use that as an opportunity to enrol students into the school. Some other key information that we need to bring on in that evening is a copy of your child's original birth certificate, proof of address where you currently live, and some original photographic ID for the parent and guardian, not for the child, to make sure that we can fully enrol the student straight away. Now, it's also worth mentioning that if your child has a medical condition of any kind, we need to be aware of that. So, for example, if your child is asthmatic, if you bring in a copy or evidence of that, then we can start to put the appropriate measures in place so that is happening as soon as your child sets foot in the door in September or before that. We've got all of the information and we're in a good place to go right from the off. Okay, the next slide is about school uniform, and that's, you know, it's a very important slide. We take a lot of pride in how our students present themselves both in school and outside of school. The current uniform policy and the current uniform to buy is all available from Whitehall Clothiers, which is in Camberwell. And you can see the address for that just on the bottom right-hand corner of the slide. Now, they do get very busy. They stock a number of local secondary schools, so please try and book appointments to go and see them. I think they're open Monday to Saturday, so to get the uniform in place early is a sensible thing to do. And there is more information, including this slide, in the year 6 and year 7 transition area. Ties also must be purchased from Whitehall Clothiers. So Whitehall Clothiers provides all of the uniform and the PE kit, which you can see. It's worth mentioning, it's not outlined on the slides there, but female students are also allowed to wear the black trousers. So that is a unisex item in the school uniform. And the PE kit is unisex also, so it's the same kit for boys and girls. There's no difference in the kit that male and female students wear. We have very high standards of how students present themselves. That includes earrings. So a student is allowed a plain studded earring that would fit on the ear. No necklaces, rings or jewelry. And we expect hair to be of a natural colour. We also insist that students don't wear makeup. There's no need for year 7 students to be wearing makeup to school. So that's our uniform. It's something that parents, from my experience, often have questions about, and we'll talk about how to, get some responses to those questions later on. But it's important that we get it right in place, and we do check the students' uniform every morning, and we can support them if they're having any issues with it. Okay, as part of the uniform, we expect students to have equipment. From attending a local secondary school recently, this is an area that the current year 6 students have got lots of questions about, and it is a big change from primary school, and we do expect students to be very well equipped. The list of equipment is on the screen. Students' rucksacks should be big enough, and it's important that they're big enough to fit A4 books or an A4 folder. And students are expected to carry around their equipment. They're going to be moving from having maybe one classroom and one teacher, or a small number of teachers, to multiple classrooms, multiple teachers, multiple subjects around the school, and it's important that they're equipped for every single one. Pencil case needs to be clear, and the reason for that is when students sit exams, and it might seem like a long way away before they're sitting their real exams, but there are other assessments and exams in school. That is a requirement of an exam hall. And we also add to that list, we will provide students with a Chromebook. So students will be provided with a Chromebook computer, and that is also expected to be carried with them every single day for use in their lessons and for use in their extended school day lessons, which take place 2 days a week. It is a big change from primary school. We do support year 7 students with this process, and one of the ways in which we do that is we check equipment every single morning. So as part of the lineup process, year 7 students' tutors will check equipment every single morning to check the students have the right belongings for the day ahead, and we use that as an opportunity to act on anyone that might have forgotten something or has something missing, and we will communicate with you to make sure students are ready for their lessons. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Sargent to speak very quickly about the homeschool partnership, and I'll be back with you shortly.
Thank you, sir. If you could take the time just to click through the slides for me as we move through, that would be great. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to take the opportunity now to talk to you about our homeschool partnership and agreement that we have in place. And this will come out to you in the school planner and also in the correspondence that you receive regarding the transition of your child to Bacon's College. So the first thing that we've got on the next slide is in relation to attendance. Attendance is really, really important to us as a school. Our target for every child is 97% attendance. And as you can see from the graphic, if students miss a certain number of days, it does impact the number of lessons that they miss. And therefore, this has a negative impact on the number of the amount of learning that takes place within inside the classroom. And it's really important that we encourage you to send your child to school every day of the school week. In regard to behaviour expectations at school, our behaviour expectations are extremely high for every young person. We believe that all students within our school deserve disruption-free learning every minute of every lesson. We do have a strict but warm behaviour policy that also provides support for students where they are making minor misdemeanors in their behaviour around the school, and we'll discuss more about that when your child comes to visit the school in September and at the welcome evening in due course. We have a code, what we call our Bacon's Code here, and that refers to 6 different elements that we value as a school, alongside obviously our school values. The first one, which Mr. Pike has already touched on, is to do with uniform and appearance. The second one we talk to the students about is their equipment and being prepared and organised for every day, and those two go hand in hand. Punctuality to school. Every school day starts at 8:25, so we expect the students to arrive promptly to school and promptly to lessons, as I said, so they don't miss any learning of any lesson at any time. Homework and deadlines. Homework is a key element of our school day in supporting and developing a student's knowledge and understanding across all curriculum areas, and we expect homework, which a piece of homework, if it's set on a Monday, has a week turnaround for each student, and we expect that to be handed in. And all students at our school are provided with a Chromebook, so they're able to complete all of their homework electronically online. We expect exemplary behaviour, and that behaviour is not just inside of school, that is outside of school. So we have high standards of our students at all times, and respect for everybody. Everybody's welcome at our school, and we expect all of our students to be respectful of visitors, people in the local community, our staff and their peers. Alongside our behaviour policy, we have a rewards policy, which runs throughout the academic year. Students can receive a point for every lesson that they attend. At 250 points, they receive a bronze award. At 500 points, they receive a silver award, and at 750, they receive a gold award. We encourage healthy competition here and expect students to aim to be and aspire to be in the top 70 students within their year group, and the top 70 students in every year group are given the opportunity to attend a rewards trip at the end of the year. We also have termly nominations for our Pride of Bacons for those students that have gone above and beyond expectations of our students at school, and that could be an act of kindness, that could be something that they've achieved in the local community, or something within school as well. On the screen now, you can see our Show My Homework profile, and this is obviously a mocked up version of what one would look like for yourselves in September and your child, and you'll be able to monitor what homework has been set for your child on a daily basis, and also whether that homework has been completed and submitted to their subject teacher. So effectively, this becomes an online electronic planner. We do provide a small notebook for students to record information on a daily basis, and for you to also pass on any messages that you'd like to communicate to staff at the school. But this is our central system for the monitoring and also the submitting of homework. And the last point, so if you just go on to the last slide, so how you can help as a school, we see this very much as a triangle, the relationship we have. We want you to be supportive of your child when they attend. We will obviously do the same, and supportive of the school. We acknowledge that students are not always going to get it right, and we therefore need your support at that time to reinforce those messages with children that attend Bacon's College. On our school website, we do have a parent section where we will communicate with you on a weekly basis. This is in the form of a newsletter, which is also sent around via email and pushed out through our electronic app. We will contact you and email you about specific announcements, parent consultation evenings, or events that are happening at school, so you'll constantly be kept up to date with information. I've mentioned Show My Homework as an electronic platform that we record our homework and monitor our homework on, and you do have a login for that. We do have termly parent forum events that are open to everyone. that you're able to attend, and they sometimes will be online and sometimes will be in person at the college, where they'll be focused on specific areas or topics, and also you'll get an opportunity to meet the senior leadership team and other members of staff at the school. Alongside that, we have a parent champions network, and there will be an opportunity for you to be a parent champion if you wish to do so. There are other regular events that take place at the school, and obviously we will keep you abreast of all of that information when your child starts. The parent portal provides you with up-to-date information on how your child is progressing at school, and these are positive and negative events that appear on the school system. You can view all information about your child, and they immediately as they go onto the system, a push notification will come out to your mobile device, and you'll be able to monitor that throughout the school day. You'll also be able to view your child's attendance, their school calendar, and this will be the platform that we do push information about to you regarding events that are taking place at school.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sargent. I'm going to quickly introduce some of the learning development team. We have a very strong learning development team at Bacon's College, and they are here to support all students with a wide range of special educational needs. Miss Mirza, who you can see on the screen there, is our Senko, and Miss Mirza will be available and around, as will other members of the learning development team, at the other transition events. In terms of transition into Bacon's College, if your child does have any special educational needs, the more information we have before starting, the better. And we're very good at supporting all students into Year 7. The LD team do their best and their utmost to meet with all parents and students prior to the first day of school. So if your child does have some additional needs and may need some extra support in lessons, then we do a very comprehensive handover from primary to secondary to make sure that all children are very well supported on that journey. Mr. Wilson, it's okay to hand over to you for the timings of the school day?
Yep, I can do that. Okay, so as Mr. Sargent said, school day begins at 9:25 for all students. And the first thing students do when they arrive at school is they go straight to line up, and line up for Year 7 is in the sports hall. So regardless of whether it's wet or dry, there's always somewhere for there to line up. And then there's a tutor period until 9 o'clock. So they'll go from line up to their tutors on a day they don't have assemblies, and they'll be with their tutors until 9 o'clock. And there's always an act of worship during either tutor time or assembly. And then during most of the week, Monday to Thursday, the lessons are 50 minutes long. So for Year 7, it's really straightforward. It's 2 lessons followed by a break, and then 2 lessons followed by lunch, and then 2 more lessons. So a nice rhythm of the day, and students can either eat during the morning break or they can eat during the lunchtime as they see fit. They can eat in the canteen, or they can take up grab and go food from one of the pods in the outside areas of school. On most days, the school day finishes at 3 o'clock. If there's any detentions, and most detentions are half an hour for things like lateness to school, anyone who forgets any equipment, anyone who's late for a lesson and so on, that's a half an hour detention after school the same day, and we'll send you a text if your child's in detention, and that will be until 3:30. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we do something different. So at 3 o'clock, when lessons finish on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, students then go back to their form tutors, and they'll do what's called IST. And IST stands for Independent Study Time. So under the supervision of the tutors, all students across the whole school, including the sixth form, they will work under the supervision of their tutors for 50 minutes after school independently. So that gives 2 periods of time where your children will be able to do their homework. It won't be enough time by any means for them to complete all their homework. That has to be done on the other days when they're at home. But what it does do is get students into the right frame and culture of working outside of normal lessons. The tutor's there, but the tutor's not there to help them directly with their homework. It should be done independently, but the tutor can maintain a calm, silent environment for students to work independently. Thursday is a routine day which finishes at 3 o'clock, and then for all that hard work during the week, students get to finish at 2:30 on a Friday. So unless there's a detention, which no one wants on a Friday, school day finishes at 2:30, which feels great, particularly when the weather's nice and we've got longer daylight than we have at the moment. So you can make plans for students to finish at 2:30 and then they'll be dismissed home after that. So that is the school day, and that's on our website as well. And that'll be the same all the way through year 7 and 8 and won't change until students get to year 9. OK, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. OK, the key dates coming up in the year 7 induction programme, and there has been a lot of information so far this evening, but the good news is there'll be more opportunities in the future to hear all of that again. The first date that is very important for your diaries is Tuesday the 6th of June, and that is our information evening for new year 7 students. That is the date where we'd like the enrolment booklet to be completed along with the other information that was mentioned earlier. So please bring that along on that date so that your child can be enrolled fully into the school. We also have a transition morning, or transition day, sorry, this year, which will be Wednesday the 5th of July. This is in line with all Southwark schools. So on that day, your child will be spending a full day at Bacon's College, and as all students in Southwark spend a full day at their secondary school on that day. So we're really looking forward to welcoming the students to the school on that day. In September, we have a slightly staggered start for new students, and there will be a year 7 and 12 partial opening on Tuesday the 5th of September. Now the timings of that are to be confirmed, and we will be in touch very soon to let you know about what that looks like, whether it's a full day or a half day. But we like to bring the year 7 students in when the school is a little bit quieter, just to make sure that they're in the right place at the right time, they feel confident moving around the building, and they're all set up for a full college opening on Wednesday the 6th of September. So in terms of what you can expect to hear from us and the college between now and the summer, we have a transition newsletter, and all transition newsletters will be available on the school website underneath the transition section that was outlined earlier. And what we like to do is, from previous experience, sharing these newsletters helps to alleviate perhaps some of the concerns or the questions that students may have in joining secondary school. So the newsletters will address particular subjects, they'll address parts of the school, they'll address preparing for secondary school in general, and we just find that it's a really good way of providing both students and parents with information about what to expect before September. So look out for those. They will be emailed out, and they will also be shared on the website, but they are very helpful and informative, and the first one will be with you within the next couple of days. Okay, other feedback from parents in the past is they'd really like to know the term dates and the proposed term dates for the year ahead. So these are the term dates for the academic year for Bacon's College next year. At the moment, they are proposed. They will be going on the website. If anyone would like to add any information on that, Mr. Wilson or Mr. Sargent, please feel free. But they are the dates. And finally, we would like to welcome some questions from the chat. Mrs. Nelson has been looking into the chat box, so if anybody does have questions, please feel free to ask, and we can take them from there. Thank you very much. I hope that's been informative, and we look forward to seeing you very, very soon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pike. OK, we do have a few questions in the chat. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yep, good stuff. OK, so first question is probably for Chris, and it's regarding the summer project. Do we know at this stage what the summer project is likely to be about?
The summer project is likely to be about the journey, the theme of journey moving into secondary school. OK, so as soon as we've got that information finalised, we'll share it on the website. I don't want anybody to worry about that now. There'll be plenty of time, and we will be speaking to all of the year 6 students when they come into school about what to expect as part of that project.
Fantastic, thank you very much. OK, and the next question is about school uniform. Can students wear kickers? think that's probably one for Mr. Wilson or Mr. Sargent.
Yeah, yes, miss. There's no reason why students can't wear kickers to school. We just don't accept the kickers that are appearance like they are like a black trainer. We just don't accept those, but black leather kickers, black leather boots that are kickers are absolutely fine, or any other model of kicker, just not those that do look like a black trainer.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And Mr. Sargent, whilst you are, we've got your mic switched on, could you please provide a little bit more information about the SENCO team and how we can find out a little bit more about who they are and how to contact them, please?
Yep, so this recording will go live on the school website. Mr. Pike did talk through earlier who, and they're on the screen now, of who the SENCO, Miss Mirza, is, and the Deputy SENCO, Miss Isaac. As Mr. Pike said, we will do a very good job at supporting students that have identified needs or diagnosis in when they transition and when they join Bacon's, and the Learning Development Department do a great job every year of meeting with every one of those students and their families before they start their first full school day in September.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
Mrs. Nelson, can I jump in for a minute?
Sorry, please.
Can I jump in for a sec on that one?
Go
Mrs.
for it.
Nelson, can I just jump in? If any parents do need to contact Miss Mirza directly, her email address is r.mirza, as you can see there, MIRZA, @baconscollege.co.uk. Or if you need to contact her and you couldn't get the email address, then just email me or Mr. Pike and we'll pass it on. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, so moving on, there's a question about progress and how we keep parents informed about their child's progress, and when are the parents' meetings with tutors, please? That's one for you, Mr. Wilson.
Yep, so we will send out 3 progress reports to you a year based on how they're doing in class or the regular assessments that we do. We do something called rank ordering as well, so you can see where students are placed effectively in within a year group, so you get some idea of the relative progress. And we also give an indication of what the likely grade range that students will achieve at GCSE, albeit it's a long way away. We give you an indication of what that likely grade range will be and whether students are working above or below or at that expectation. There'll be a parents' evening where you meet the subject teachers quite a bit later on in the academic year. But in the first, Mr. Pike, I can't remember if you know the date, but in the first half term, you'll come in to meet the form tutors as well for a more informal conversation about how students are getting on at school generally, but you'll meet the subject teachers later on in the academic year. Mr. Pike, do you want to say anything more about that?
Just to confirm what you said, that the tutors are the first point of contact for the new students, and we have a tutor consultation evening early on towards the end of September, early October, where parents are able to meet their child's tutors. We also have a welcome service that forms part of the transition programme, where parents will be invited into school to formally welcome the students and the families to Bacon's College.
Thank you.
Lovely. Okay, thank you very much. And the next question is on phone policy. What is our policy on mobile phones, please?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Do you want to make whoever's speaking live, Mrs. Nelson, so they can see, parents can see faces? Unfortunately, it'd be mine. But...
yeah. Oh. Mikey, can you do that, please? It's not working for me. Oh, there we go. No, sorted. Okay.
There we go, back again. Yeah, so mobile phone policy, it's really clear. It's see it, hear it, lose it. So we appreciate that almost every child will want to have a mobile phone in school so that you can contact them either before school or on their way home, so you know where they are and that they're safe. But they're not to be seen, they're not to be heard in school. There's no reason for any student to be checking their mobile phone during the day. That just doesn't need to happen at all. And if we do see mobile phones or we hear mobile phones, we confiscate them. If they're confiscated, they go into an envelope in the front office and a parent is required to come and collect it. So if you don't want to be inconvenienced by coming in to have to collect a mobile phone, please do tell your children that you keep your mobile phone in your pocket and you keep it switched off at all times during the day. And they put it on when they leave the gates at the end of the afternoon. If a student says, I must have my phone, I need my phone, then I'm afraid it's the same answer. They don't get their mobile phone back until a parent collects it. Mobile phones are an essential part of life these days for everyone, obviously, but we do seriously recommend that you just have a very basic phone for your child. We don't want students getting wrapped up in social media and Instagram and all sorts of other stuff that people do. Keep it to just what they need to do to contact you, to send a text, and that is about it. So what phone you choose to give your child is entirely up to you, but I would strongly recommend just a cheap functional phone so that they can contact you after school if they need to. Thank you.
And what about watches, smart watches?
Oh, right. Sorry, I'm behind the times. Smart watches. I don't think I've ever been asked that, actually. It would constitute, it would class as a phone. If they can send texts on it and make calls on it and whatever, it will be a phone. So they can, by all means, they can wear a watch, but if it's tethered to their phone and it acts like a phone, it will be considered a phone. Is that fair enough?
Great, thank you very much. And whilst we've got you on the screen, Mr. Wilson, could you just talk about the policy on inset days? I'm assuming the question means what are our expectations of students on inset days?
Well, the students attend school for 190 days a year, and there's 5 training days. We can use more, but we normally take maybe 5 or 6. Students are not required to obviously be in school on those days. We don't set work for those days per se, but that will be an opportunity for them to do their weekly homework because they've got a week's turnaround to do it, so they can use that opportunity to do their homework on CPD days.
Fabulous, thank you. And then this question comes up every year, so I was completely expecting this one, is about bullying. How do we deal with bullying in school, and how do we support children that might be being bullied?
Yeah, I'll start and then Mr. Sargent can take over as he leads on that. So if any school or head teacher says that there is 0 bullying in the school, it won't be true. There is always going to be some bullying, but I can guarantee here it's rare. Students do make mistakes. They do act in a way that is unkind to others, but it is rare. What's important is that we know about it. So if any student is experiencing bullying or what they think might be bullying, because there is a difference between whether it's bullying or whether it is perceived as bullying, if they let one of the pastoral team know or any other member of staff know, or if they let you know and then you tell us, we will always act on it. We'll investigate it. We'll jump on it really quickly and we'll nip it in the bud very quickly. We don't tolerate bullying here. We're a Christian school. We expect everyone to be kind and respectful to each other. So bullying is not tolerated at all. We are very capable of dealing with bullying if we find it and de-escalating any situations that might exist. We also have what's called our mediation service in school. So if there are disputes between individual students or groups of students, we have mediators in school who are other students who have been professionally trained, and they can act as mediators to try and resolve those disputes before they escalate. So bring anything to our attention and you have my word that we will always act to deal with it. Where our powers are limited are in things that happen outside of school. So some parents do say that things have happened in the evenings and the weekends and so on. And while we're always happy to help out, there is a limit into what we can get involved in. And if there are things going on social media, we really do draw the line on, we can't police what students are doing on their mobile phones at 10 o'clock at night in the privacy of their own houses. So if there's any social media activity between groups of students, we rely on you to monitor what your children are doing on social media. We can't be expected to intervene every time there's a social media dispute, or we'll be doing nothing else. But if there's a dispute on social media that spills into school and it ends up in an argument in school or worse, we will intervene at that point. But what happens on social media, we very much expect you to deal with and encourage your children to not get involved in any of that stuff on social media. If they're going to use their phones, use it sensibly and not to get involved in anything that's not wholesome. Mr. Sargent, do you want to say anything else?
No, I'll just echo everything what you said. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, next question. I think this is a really good question, actually. I think this one might be for Mr. Sargent. It's regarding logins for the parent portal. Is it just one per family, or can parents who might not be in the same household have separate logins to check students' homework?
Mikey or Jane, can you make Mr. Sargent live as well so parents can see him?
You missed just why that's happening. You will get access, and that all takes place once we have all the information gathered from parents to enable us to grant access to Show My Homework and the Arbor app. If we do need to provide additional accounts, it can be something that we can look into, but normally it's one account per student, and it will be a login for that student where the parents are able to go in and access. But it can be something that we can do if we need to create additional accounts.
Thank you, sir.
Fabulous. I'm not able to turn your camera on, I'm afraid.
Oh, I think he's in someone else's room. That's why he probably couldn't be attached. It's all right. Carry on.
Oh, okay. All right, a few questions about transition here. So I think perhaps Mr. Pike, if I can fire these ones at you, please. In terms of the child's ID, a question is about do we accept birth certificates or passports? And I think we can take both, can't we, when students come in with their completed enrolment forms?
Yes, but a birth certificate, an original copy of your child's birth certificate, and then photo ID for the parents, please.
Photo ID for the parent. Thank you. Okay. And again, you know, that information is in the document. It is in the letter that will be sent out to parents. And then on the transition day itself, I'm assuming that means the one on the 5th of July. What are students expected to wear?
We'll expect students to attend in their current school uniform.
The current school uniform.
Yeah. More
Fabulous.
information about those events will be sent home via the post to parents in preparation for them, but they're very good questions, so thank you.
Excellent. And then some questions about school bags. Do they have to be black? What is our policy on school bags?
Yes, please, black bags as much as possible. We don't want bags with big, massive logos written all over them. And more importantly, we want bags that are suitable for school, that are going to be able to carry all of the students' equipment. Mr. Sargent, if there's anything you'd like to add on school bags, please feel free to jump in.
No, that's great. Yeah, black bag is absolutely fine.
Lovely, thank you. And then just on the equipment, there's a question here about all of the equipment that students are expected to have. Are parents expected to buy that themselves?
Yes.
We do have a school shop as well, Miss. We should have mentioned that earlier. So we do have a school shop which is run by our students and our school council. So if students do forget items of equipment for school, they can purchase those from the school shop as well. Please don't be too worried about making sure that you've got all of the equipment on the first day. There will be some leniency in ensuring that all the students know what is expected of them within the first week of school. So that we can ensure that they are equipped for all of their lessons across all subject areas.
Lovely, thank you. And school planners, we will provide those, won't we?
Yeah,
Correct.
we provide planners.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you very much. And then just a couple more questions on uniform. A question about makeup in other year groups, because I know, Mr. Pike, you mentioned outside that year 7 girls are not allowed to wear makeup, but that applies to the whole of the key stage 3 and 4, doesn't it?
It does, yes. It does, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. And girls don't have to wear ties, do they, if they are wearing this?
If girls are wearing the winter uniform, which consists of a kilt and a pair of trousers, then they must wear a tie. If they're wearing the summer dress, which is only acceptable after the Easter holidays and then from September until October, then there's not a necessity to wear a tie with the summer dress.
Great, thank you. And then a question here about sets, when parents and students will find out about setting, please. Mr. Wilson, I'm afraid the camera is on you.
Yep, so we do set pupils according to ability. When students come to us in year 7, we do the best we can to use the data we get from primary schools and reading age data that we all get in the summer. I think you'll get told at Mr. Pike, correct if I'm wrong, but I think before we break up for the summer, we know what the sets are. Certainly in September, when students get their new timetable, that will show what groups they're in. And we do review and refresh them very frequently. So obviously it's quite hard to get right at the start of the year with limited data, but as we get progress data from teachers over the first weeks and months, we will move students in the correct set according to their ability. And just want to reassure you, because I know some parents do think about this quite a bit, we never ever use words like promotion or demotion or top set or bottom set or anything like that. It's not what we do at all. We just make sure students are in the right group according to their ability and their progress, which means the teachers can pitch the content in a more bespoke way for that group, so that students can really be stretched and challenged appropriately according to their rates of progress. We've got the highest expectations of all students, so regardless of what group students are in, regardless of whether students might have additional needs or not, every student is challenged and every student is expected to follow a demanding and a rigorous curriculum, which is the purpose of them being in school, for them to learn and make progress.
Lovely, thank you for that very comprehensive answer. And one more for you, Mr. Wilson, is about clubs and trips. There's quite a few questions on that in terms of what clubs we provide and at what point in the year they will get to find out what's available with regards to clubs and trips.
Yeah, I'm just going to pass that one over to Mr. Sargent for that one. Mr. Sargent, you ready to pick that one up?
Yeah, no problem. Clubs run throughout the school year. There's, unlike primary school, there's not a necessity to sign up to those clubs, but we do obviously advise that students inform their parents when they want to attend. So we have quite a range of clubs that the PE department will offer throughout the school week, and there'll also be additional clubs that are run by other subject areas: science club, film club with media. There's a history club. So there's lots that go on around the school throughout the week, and as I said, there's not a requirement for students to sign up for these. It's more of a first come first serve basis, but we're normally able to cope with the demand for those clubs. Trips do run throughout the year through different subject areas. We've had a history trip to Belgium recently. We have rewards trips, as mentioned earlier, at the end of the academic year. We've got a trip to France arranged for next academic year for students. There's residentials that do take place, and we will be working on again another team building activity to help with the year 7 students when they do arrive to school with the transition. We ran a really successful one at the start of the last academic year, and students took part in a range of different events: climbing, laser tag, kayaking, lots and lots that they did on the day, lots of team building activities as well, archery. So yeah, there's a lot of scope for students to involve themselves throughout the wider curriculum and opportunities that we have available to them here at Bacon's.
Great, thank you. And payment process is usually via parent pay, isn't it? We're a cashless school now, so just to answer that question about payment, it's through parent pay, and we are a cashless school, so you'll be provided with information on how to set that account up when your child starts with us in September.
Yeah, that's correct, and that's the same for trips, and then also for lunchtime and break time snacks that the students choose to buy during the school day.
Great. And there's a question here about can we bring our own lunch? The answer is absolutely yes to that. Although I have to say the school meals are very nice, so I would encourage children to actually try them because they are very good and a lot of care goes into those. We also have a free breakfast club. Students can have breakfast before school for no charge at all to give them a really good start to the day. And there's another question.
7:45. Sorry, 7:45 breakfast. So that's cereal, fruit, and toast is available every day. And lots of students come in, they'll have breakfast, they'll do some work on their Chromebooks, or they'll just chat to their friends, and that's absolutely fine. So that's very good. And yeah, the quality of the food here is really, really good. We've got a great catering manager. It's not your typical school food, should we say. You know, she really does look after us, and the whole catering team looks after us. And I eat it every day, and it does all right for me.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, and there's a question here. I'm just going to put my camera on so rather than talking, just being a voiceless, sorry, a faceless voice. There's a question here about curriculum. Just to say that there is a huge amount of information about school curriculum on our website. So please do go to the How We Learn page on the website, and you will see the entire curriculum mapped out by key stage and by year group and by subject. So that is already there if you would like to know a little bit more detail about what you or your child will be studying. Okay, and the next question is for, I think, Mr. Wilson as well, and about the head of year. Does the head of year stay with you throughout your school life? Do they move up with the school?
So the way we manage it here is that the head of year is static for year 7. So there's always the same head of year for the year 7 students, because it's more specialist, managing the transition from primary school. You know, the whole settling in process is quite specialist, so we keep the same head of year 7, and then a new head of year will pick that student up at the end of year 7, take them into year 8, and as long as that member of staff is still with us in the school, then the objective is that they take them up to year 11. So year 7 is always the same head of year for all the new joiners, and then a head of year will take them from year 8 up to year 11.
Thank you very much. And then just sort of these questions are going back to transition now. I think there's a few worries, understandably, about transition, about what's going to happen. And I'm assuming this is a student asking the question, not the parent, but asking, where do I go when I get to school? I think the answer would be, don't worry. You will have the transition days, which will help you get all the information you need about where to go on your first day. So please don't worry about that. Mr. Pike, would you want to add anything to that?
Just agree with what you said, Miss, and not to worry. You'll reassure you that you'll be met with a friendly face, and not just one, lots of friendly faces. We're very good at running these transition events. Had a lot of experience, and it's a real team effort from everybody at Bacon's. We recognise how important it is. First impressions count. We want to make a great first impression on you just as much as you want to make a great first impression on us. So absolutely, do not worry. We're all here to help out.
Lovely. And then I can't get your camera on for some reason, Mr. Pike, but could you just talk about the summer project very quickly? I've got another query about worries about the dates for that, because people are worried about going on holiday and things like that. Could you just explain how that would work?
Yeah, I don't want anybody to worry about their summer plans around the summer project. It's not. It's a judged piece of work, if you like, and it's a competition, but it's not an assessed piece of work, and it's not going to impact how anybody starts off at Bacon's College. We use it as an opportunity to learn about the students and learn about new students. It's not something that needs to determine your whole summer holiday plans. At the information evening, I'll give a comprehensive overview of that. There's absolutely nothing that needs to be started on before now. I know people are very busy with lots of other things going on. So it's great that people are keen, and I really want to harness that enthusiasm, and we'll hear a bit more about it in the information evening.
Somebody's just posted a question, Mr. Pike, about they're being worried that their child is worried about making new friends. Again, I think just to reiterate, all of the activities that will happen around transition will help them with that, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think going to a new school and meeting new people is always it's exciting, but it also carries a certain level of apprehension, which is understandable. It's a great opportunity to meet lots of new people. Students will be in tutor groups with people from some, a small amount of people from their school perhaps, and also people from other schools as well. And there'll be a full sort of tutorial program on the first day of school, so in September, with lots of different activities, icebreaker activities, a chance to meet people, a chance to get to know their teachers, to get to know other students in the class. And we find that students settle in very quickly, make lots of new friends. And just going back to some of the clubs and the other enrichment opportunities that Mr. Sargent spoke about, they provide a great platform, if you like, to meet other people and get to know teachers, get to know staff in the school, and get to know make a lot of friends.
Lovely, thank you. And could you just explain a little bit about how the banding tests work? There's a question here about how the banding tests and SATs will affect how the child is placed once they're with us.
Mr. Wilson, you happy for me to hand over to you on that one?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yep. So the banding tests were used to place the students into the bands purely for admissions purposes. So we have 5 bands to make sure we've got a broad comprehensive intake, and that's what the the banding tests were used to inform whether a place was given or not, because we have to have equal numbers from each band. We do use that data. We use reading age data. We'll use data that we get from primary schools, like the maths and English data that we get from primary schools into Key Stage 2, and we use that to inform the sets that students are in, and to set what we think are aspirational targets for where a student should be when they do their GCSEs in 5 years' time, based on the level that they were working at when they left primary school. But once that's all in place and we've got that done, we'll then use our own internal data through regular assessments, whether it's formal or whether it's more informal assessment in lessons, and then we'll use that to make sure students are in the appropriate groups. If any students we think are maybe falling behind and not reaching their target levels, we can put intervention in place, and we can really make sure that students are stretched and challenged to achieve the best possible grades and be the best they can be. So that's how we'll use all of that data. But the banding tests are effectively used for the purpose of getting you to where you are now, rather than anything that happens subsequently.
Lovely, thank you very much. I'm just conscious of time. There's some questions here about vouchers, about accepting school vouchers from parental accounts. I think it would depend on what the vouchers actually are. Would that be correct, Mr. Sargent? School vouchers to pay?
That's correct, Miss. We'd need a bit more detail about those vouchers and what they'd be used for within the school.
Great.
But if we've got any questions, they can contact the school office. There it is on the screen, schooloffice@baconscollege.co.uk, and we can respond to any queries that people have regarding vouchers.
Great. And will we have a summer school this year?
There's no plans. Sorry for the echo. There's no plans currently to have a summer school for the summer break. But hopefully the intervention and then the activities that we provide as the students progress into September will provide a smooth transition, and we believe a smooth transition into the school.
Great, thank you. And just whizzing through very quickly now, some of these are on policy. Could a student stay into the same year twice? Do students ever repeat years?
No, they will move up the year groups.
Great. OK, thank you. And how do we apply for music lessons? That information will be sent out nearer to the end of term. Usually there is an online application form for music lessons on the transition page of our website. So we will notify you as soon as that is live. Have I got that correct?
That's right.
Great. OK. And questions about student leadership. How do you choose school captains?
We have a school council. We have representatives from every tutor group across the school, from year 7 up to year 11. And then we have a student leadership team in year 12 and year 13. The students nominate their peers to represent their tutor group, and they then break out into small committees within the school council, based around different topics. So we have a student matters committee, we have a food committee, we have an anti-bullying steering group, we have a school site committee, and then they come and present on a termly basis to the senior staff around different areas that they'd like to focus on as a school, and what they've fed back, what the feedback they've gathered from their tutor group and other members of the school council. So they instigated and were behind the introduction of a school shop at the school. They recently had a big drive on litter across the school and have put some footprints on the floor to try and encourage peers to place their rubbish in the bin, with a recycling program alongside that as well. And more recently, they've presented on the idea of having a celebration of culture in the summer term, which we've agreed to, and it's an important part of our school community, that the students have a voice and they are listened to, and staff are able to support them with the different ideas that they've got on a bi-weekly basis. They meet as a group.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna whiz very quickly through the last questions again, because it is 5 minutes past 5. Are the children going to learn about LGBT in September? My answer to that would be, is if you have a look at the How We Learn area of our website, there is a page dedicated to PSHE and RSE, so you can see exactly what students will be studying by year. So you will see what content is covered when. So please go to the website and have a look at How We Learn for that information. Which colours are allowed for a headscarf? It is just black, isn't it, Mr. Wilson?
And blue, miss.
And
Dark
blue,
blue.
sorry.
And navy blue.
Dark blue.
My apologies. There's a question here about ID. I think my answer to that would be, if you're concerned about your ID, call the school office and we can have a conversation. We'd need a bit more information about what ID you do have for your child. And then we've got a question about toilet policies and toilet passes. What's the policy for students in lessons on that?
Miss, I can see that question, and
yeah,
the important part about that question is if it's urgent. So yes, of course, if it's urgent and the student needs to use the bathroom, we will allow them to do so during a lesson. They will be given permission and a note in their planner to make their way to the bathroom and then return back to lessons.
Lovely. Okay, I think the rest of the questions, there's a couple of more questions in the chat which I'll reply to directly, but I think if that is all, I'm going to close the chat on the questions now. But as Mr. Wilson's already said, if you email us at any time with any other queries, please don't worry, we will come back to you. And I'm going to put you live now to finish off, Mr. Wilson, if that's okay.
Of course. Okay, well, thanks very much, Jane. Thanks very much for everyone who's been on the call to present and make it all work smoothly and seamlessly. Thank you very much for you all being with us and joining us this afternoon. As has been said, there's a lot more information that we'll be sending out to you. There's a lot more information that you can access on the website. If that doesn't answer any queries you've got, or if you've got any individual queries, do contact the school office and we'll always do our best to help and support you. And I think the word worry has been mentioned a couple of times, and obviously coming to a new school, big school as it's known, it can be a daunting experience, but it's a very exciting one as well. And both for you as parents and for your children, really just do not worry. Almost without exception, students come here, they settle in well, they meet friends, they enjoy their lessons, they get on with their teachers, and they really, really enjoy being here. So, yep, might be daunting, but it's also exciting, and just don't worry. It will all work out well, I promise. So I think that brings the evening to a close. Once again, thank you ever much for joining us and being with us. I really look forward to seeing you all again soon, hopefully not over Teams next time we meet. And finally, just take care, have a good evening, and God bless. Bye-bye.